Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. This is another episode of Zero Limits Living. Every week, I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life. You're due for a miracle. So if you can expect one, brace yourself because here it comes. Let me ask you a question. How are you feeling right now? Do you have any pain? Any aches or pains? Because some of those pains can also be not only physical, but psychological. Are you grieving? Do you have some emotions that are bothering you? Whatever's going on, it's distracting you from the enjoyment of your present reality. So what do we do about it? That's where I have great news, because my guest today is going to teach you and me how to have instant pain relief. How about that for an opening? So what I want to do is welcome Shalini Yamdagni, who I'm going to call Shalini from here on out. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Joe, on your show. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And congratulations. Your book is brand new and it is a #1 bestseller. And as we record this, it's only days old. And in fact, I think you just saw the book for the first time yesterday, correct?
I did.
And how did that feel to hold your baby?
Yes, it was incredible because, you know, when you're pregnant with an actual child, you know, within 9 months it's coming out. But with this child, I thought it was going to be stuck inside. Never. So holding it in my hand for the first time yesterday was incredible. It was surreal. I couldn't believe I had it finally, and I loved the cover actually. So it was very joyful.
I know it's joyful, and I'm celebrating the moment with you. So congratulations. And this is, I wrote the endorsement, folks, and the endorsement says, this is the best book I have ever read on instant pain relief. The best book I've ever read on instant pain relief. And so what I've done is ask Shalini to be here to help you with pain. So we're going to hear her story, and we're going to hear about the method, at least enough of it for you to begin the process of relieving your pain on this very show. So Shalini, I know you're from India and you live in Thailand, but about 15 years ago, you went through something that we'll call a turning point in your life. What was going on 15 years ago?
So 15 years ago, I had been diagnosed with a chronic disease, costochondritis. And because of that, I was in chronic pain. And so, I thought that the pain was because of a physical incident that happened. I was at a gym. I thought I overdid the gym abs exercises. And that's why I had a pinprick pain in my left rib area. Went to the hospital. They diagnosed it, and they gave me pain medications. And that was what I did. Whenever I had any sickness or anything, I rushed to the hospital. So I came back happily with my pack of medicines, and I thought, it's going to be gone. And but it didn't go away. So I went back. And then they said, oh, it takes, sometimes it just takes longer. Everybody's different. So you may need some stronger medications. I went and had the stronger medications, but that didn't work either. And so this saga sort of continued for many months, in and out of hospital, changing doctors and trying lots of different things. Hot packs, cold packs, rib support. What was going on is that as the months passed, the pain was spreading, not healing. It was spreading from my left rib to my left backside, to the right side of my ribs, to my right side of my back. And it was like whole upper body was in so much pain that I had a rib belts and neck support and hot packs and cold packs. And I was doing physiotherapy, ultrasound therapy. Wow. I bought a really expensive chair because at some point my doctor thought that, I work long hours on the computer, and that's why my hand is weighing on my shoulders. And so he says, I suggest you get those adjustable, those chairs with adjustable handrests. That was $600. So I got that too.
And were you in India or Thailand when this was going on?
No, I was in Thailand. I've been in Thailand
Okay.
since I graduated from
My
university.
point in bringing that up is I've been to Thailand twice, as you know, and they have some of the best medical facilities in the world. This isn't like you were going to people that didn't know what they were doing. You were going to experts in their field who were trying to help you in the best way they knew how with medicine recommendations for things like the chair. Is that all correct?
It's all correct. And actually, Thailand is known, it's really known for medical tourism. We have people coming here from around the world specifically for getting the best treatment. So, medical tourism is a big thing in Thailand. You have like whole hotels just for this. Like, there are patients staying in hotels that are, that are just here for getting treatments, and by the way also just touring around Thailand. So yes, Thailand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so you're giving medication. This is going on for months. The pain is spreading. You're told to get things like this expensive chair. Is this making a difference?
No, unfortunately it wasn't making a difference. And so finally, after shifting from doctor to doctor, one of the doctors says, I think you just have to quit your job and be on bed rest indefinitely. um, because you're moving around, you're still going to work, you're still working on the computer. And so he said, because they kind of ran out of what kind of medication, what kind of suggestions they could give, because it was not shifting. And so it was very frustrating because the experts don't know what to do with you. So it was the anxiety was really building up. And then when the doctor said, you just have to be on bed rest, it was a shock, and it was very disappointing, because they didn't know what was going on. And my kids at the time were 5 and 6. I was driving them to school every day. I was picking them up every day.
Oh.
And so I thought, this is crazy. How can I be on bed?
Now, when you
But
say, let me ask you one thing, Shalini, just so everybody understands. When you say bed rest, I don't know that that's a term everybody understands. What's a name for it? I mean, are you ordered to stay in bed? Is it just bedridden? Is there another phrase?
bedridden, yes, kind of.
Okay.
But I could move if I wanted. I
Mhm.
mean, I
But
could
in
go
pain.
kitchen, or but basically I had been told that it's best you just rest on your bed and not move much, so that the pain becomes better, because they thought I was doing all this movement and it was aggravating the pain. And so I was kind of like confined to bed. I didn't
Mhm.
much. I didn't go downstairs to the pool with my kids. I didn't do any. I was stopped driving. I stopped going to work. And I just was basically on bed, because the experts told me the more you rest, the better, the chances that it will get better. But
And
actually, that didn't help at all. Uh, it just kept getting worse.
oh, so something had to happen at this point. What are you doing at this point to find relief and giving up on the medical doctors?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I didn't, uh, at this, I was told to be on bed rest, but they just kept telling me, you still can come for the ultrasound therapy, for the physiotherapy, and not work, and just be on bed and come for the therapy. So I'm going for the therapies, and I kept going for the therapies. They were not helping at all. And, but I was clueless. My brain, as a kid growing up, the only solution that I knew to physical problems was taking medications and going to the doctor. And so I didn't have any resources or any ideas that anything else was possible. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the hospital and keep getting the treatments. And nothing was shifting anything, but I didn't know what else to do. So I just kept going back and
And
kept
I
going.
think everybody would relate to you, Shalini, because I think we're all brought up that way, unless at some point we're introduced to an alternative way of being, or somebody's lucky enough to watch a show like this and then hear what you're about to share with us, for most of us, we go down that road. We were brought up that way, whether it was in India, Thailand, United States, I don't care where it is. We were told, go to the doctor, do what he or she says.
Yes. Yes. So that was my routine, just lying on bed and going to the appointments, coming back disappointed and wondering and fearing that this is going to be my life. Like, this is what, I'm just going to sit here and watch my life go by and watch my kids grow up and not being able to just go down and swim with them in the pool or go to them for trips. And so there was this emotional, upheaval that was happening. And I just kept doing the same thing until a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, sent me an email. And she lives on one part of town and I live on the other side of town. And so we hadn't met for a while. And she said, there's a self-awareness seminar that was somewhere in the middle of the town, middle of where she is and where I am. And she said, hey, you want to catch up? And I'm going to this seminar. It's a self-awareness seminar. And let's meet up here, because she hadn't met me for a long time. And I didn't want the headache of putting my balm and putting my rib belt and I hadn't been out. I'd been depressed. I hadn't been out in months. So I thought, I really don't want to go. I don't want to do this, all this effort with all this pain. And, but she knew I was depressed. And she said, what the heck? It's just an opportunity for us to meet. And after the seminar, they always drinks and, stuff to eat. And she said, we can chat, because she's very busy and I was stuck on bed. And so I went to the self-awareness seminar. Actually, I was very skeptical, because I thought, what is this about? All these experts in the world haven't been able to help me. What's a self-awareness seminar going to do for me? So the only reason I went was to meet my friend. And so I went to the seminar, and that was, I think, the turning point in my life. And
well, what happened? Give us I know you tell the story in your wonderful book, but what, in a nutshell, took place? Because it sent you down a different road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything changed with that one self-awareness seminar. And what happened was that the host was talking when I sneaked in late for the seminar, because I didn't want to be part of the seminar. I just wanted to go in late and then just chat with my friend. But when I went there, at the time when I entered, the host was holding a whiteboard, a kind of a short board in which he had, there was a chart that said thoughts, create emotions, and they create your reality. And he was talking about how your negative thoughts are, create your reality, whether it's your relationships, whether it's the results you're getting, or your physical body, the diseases that you have. And I was very upset when I heard that, because I thought, this guy's crazy. I've been trying so many things and I've been so desperate to help myself. And he's actually telling me that I've created all this pain in my body. So I was very upset and, more irritated and agitated, sitting in the car. And then what happened was he talked about his journey. And as I say in the book, he had almost tried to commit suicide because his life had become so miserable, but he didn't die. And he was found, and something shifted in his life. And now he was going from Bangkok to Dubai, to Hong Kong, to Philippines, sharing this message that your thoughts create your reality. And so I thought, wow, his story is way worse than mine. And here he is saying that your thoughts create your reality. So I kind of like softened up and started to pay attention to what he was saying. And the interesting thing was he had his partner, a lady I called, I don't know, Nina in the book, and she was a chakra diagnosis expert.
Mm.
They said, we can demonstrate how thoughts create your reality through an experience right now. And they said, anyone have any physical pain in their body? And I was so shocked to hear that, like, they were going to demonstrate how thoughts create the reality for physical pain. And I was too chicken and I was too scared to like get up. And someone else raised their hands and went up, and she had lower back pain, and so they said, okay, she did some, she used a pendulum to kind of like go through her body, checked out the energy blocks, and told her to say an affirmation 21 times. And we don't know what that affirmation was, but she just said, say this in your mind 21 times. As she told the audience that she told this girl to say an affirmation for the lower back pain, which was at an 8 intensity out of a 10. And so I was watching this magic show going on. And after the 21 affirmations that she said in her head, the lady asked her out loud, so what's your pain intensity right now? And she said, it's a 2. She was shocked. And I thought, this is crazy. Like, I've been popping pills, I've been taking injections, I've been going for therapy, ultrasound therapy, changing pillows, changing mattress to help with my pain. And this girl just sat there, said something. I thought she was a setup. I thought, she's a setup. Like, there's got to be something really wrong. Like, this is not possible. But, I was chatting with my friend and she said, well, they're going from country to country to country. They can't have, they can't be bluffing so many people. Mm-hmm. And I knew she was right. And he had just shared his story of suicide, trying to commit suicide. So I stayed open to them. And I, asked the host of the seminar, what can I do? I'm in so much pain. And he said, why don't you try EFT? Now, he was a hypnotherapist and his partner was a chakra diagnosis expert, but they had heard about EFT. They didn't practice EFT, and they had heard that it works wonderfully for chronic pain. And so, after that experience, I went home and I Googled the EFT website. Back then, there was one and only one website, emofree.com by Gary Craig. And I downloaded the EFT manual, 89-page manual. And I, tried to make sense of what was going on. And I knew I didn't really understand it correctly, because imagine the written text of EFT with the ham sandwich and the the eye rolling and it was very confusing, and I couldn't really understand it. But there was, typical statements that were given in the manual. So I did try tapping with whatever I could make sense of. And I knew I wasn't doing it correctly because I didn't really understand the whole thing, because I hadn't watched a video yet. It was all text. And as I tried using this tapping for all the pain that I had in my body, I noticed instant shifts in my neck pain. Or, I tried it a couple of times and then I noticed my shoulder doesn't feel so heavy anymore. And that was incredible, because I would be popping pills and doing the hot pack and cold pack, and I wouldn't be seeing any shifts in the pain. So I was amazed. Yeah.
Let me pause you here for a second, because my job is to make sure everybody watching keeps up with us. And you and I know each other, and you know that I know about EFT, and I know the originator of all of the tapping was Roger Callahan with TFT, which was called thought field therapy, and somehow it evolved into EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques. Can you give a quick definition of EFT besides emotional freedom technique? I've often said it's psychological acupuncture. Do you have a way that you can explain it so the average person watching who is hypnotized by you and your story, and they want to know what this is, but they don't have any clue. What's EFT? What's tapping? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. And think of it as an emotional acupuncture. So if you're familiar with acupuncture, you know that, when you go to an acupuncturist, they stick needles at specific points on your body and either physically trigger the needles, or they switch on a light electrical current, and then the needles start vibrating on those points. So EFT is acupuncture without the needles, because you're just using your fingertips lightly to activate the energy endpoints of energy meridians, but you are also tuning into what is upsetting me, what is bothering me, what's stressing me. So it's like your emotions and your psychological, you're involved in what's going on, because I have done 15 sessions of acupuncture, and I would just lie there, and the needles would be vibrating, but I wouldn't feel a shift. So nothing shifted for me, even though acupuncture is a fantastic tool and it works for a lot of people. But it didn't work for me. And so EFT is emotional acupuncture. It's like a modern psychology meets ancient Chinese medicine. And so what you're doing when you're doing tapping or EFT is you're tapping on energy meridian points, as well as thinking of what's really upsetting me, what's really frustrating me, what am I really, worried about, what am I feeling stressed about, what is making me angry, what is making me feel guilty. So you're tuned into all the emotions that you're feeling as you're tapping. And so it's because, energy, because with the acupuncture, you're clearing energy blocks. And emotions are energy in motion. Emotions are like, a river. They're meant to flow. And when they're not flowing, they're stuck. So for example, if you had a fight with someone and you were pissed off and you had to drive back together and none of you could express, and you're feeling fury and anger and all those feelings, but you're not being able to express them because, it'll create even more fight. Now, what's going to happen? So you're dumping all that negative feelings of dis-ease inside. And so now there are kind of emotions that were supposed to be flowing and being released, but now they're trapped. And as it's that trapped energy eventually creates traffic jams in your energy system. And as you have that, as you're feeling stress and worry and doubt and fear moving from day to day, and not being able to express that, or having, fights or having arguments or having upsets and not expressing that, then it creates a lot of stuck energy in your system, and eventually creates physical dis-ease too.
And this is where we experience physical pain.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so you were going through all of this. You had gone through the Western medicine. You went to this unusual seminar. You softened, opened your mind. You learned about EFT. You go home, get some text on it, and start to stumble your way through understanding it, because as you said, you hadn't seen a video yet. What did you do next to actually get this to work for you? I mean, you got immediate response. Your neck and so forth, as you said, felt better. But how did you get it to actually alleviate the bigger problem?
Yeah, so I was so excited that night, and I had printed my computer was still open because I just printed out this fresh 89-page manual. And so that night I went to the computer and I Googled around a little bit more, and I found out they have a video library of EFT training. And I ordered everything they had in their library. I think there were about 16 CDs. with different foundational and, serious diseases and all of that. So I just ordered everything they had in their library. And once I got the series, what I did was, kind of binge watched all of those series, and it's done so well. They explained it step by step by step. So Gary Craig became my teacher, and I would sit and listen to him, and I would take notes. So one part of the day I would spend just tapping, because there was an instruction in the book that said, here's how you can use these series. You can either simply just tap along with the cases in the video, and you will still get benefits. I didn't really understand how that was going to work, but I just was so excited with this process. I understand now what was going on, but that was the guidance given in the manual, which came with the CDs, that you can simply just tap along with somebody who has fear of rats, or, anger about something else. And so what I did was every morning I just sat with that. Once my kids left for school, I turned the TV on, which was right across my bed now, and I would just tap along with the different cases that Gary was working on. And I would notice shifts in my pain levels. And then and the other suggestion that was given in the manual was that if you really want to take it deeper, then, you want to understand and see notice the questions that were being asked, and what he was doing to really get to the bottom of, the issues that people had through the questioning that he was doing. So the second part of my day was spent, taking notes and just saying, okay, this one had a fear of this. What were the questions that he was asking? And there was a certain pattern that was going on that I picked up on. Mm-hmm. And so I started using that pattern, because there was no case in all of the 16 CDs specifically for costochondritis. But I sort of picked up a pattern, like, okay, this is what he's doing. This is the questions he's asking. And so as I did that with myself, I was able to, release and clear those deeper root issues that are actually the real cause of chronic pain. And so I used the tapping and released and cleared based on the questions and the journaling I was doing and the reflection, and then actually applying the tapping. I was, within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was able to manage my pain levels to such an extent that I started driving my kids back to school.
Wow, nice.
Started becoming normal, and I was eager and excited because I kept seeing results. And by 2 months, I had completely healed my chronic disease and my chronic pain.
Wow, that is huge. That is huge. Well, first of all, congratulations again. And second of all, that was 15 years ago. And during this time, you've become an international expert on instant pain relief. And of course, just wrote the massive, wonderful book on it. But more than that, and this is something I want to make sure people hear, because there's women watching, and so they will identify with you, but you also taught this method to your kids. And how old were they when you first taught them how to do the instant pain relief method?
So my kids were 5 and 6 when I discovered EFT, and they became my guinea pigs, right? And my husband too. So the thing is, like, because I saw such amazing results with the pain, and I share some of the stories in the book, is my kids thought I had like magic fingers, because they'd be upset about, let's say my daughter came back and she said, she was sad, and she would say, none of my friends played with me. I was alone the whole playtime in the playground. And as she would as she would talk to me, I knew, which I didn't know, what I learned at the seminar, that your thoughts create your reality. And so I had started paying attention to the upsetting feelings and the upsetting thoughts that I was thinking. And I said, okay, like, she's feeling like that. And so we would do some tapping and she would tell her story about what happened and what was upsetting her. And then within a few minutes of doing the tapping, her mood would shift. And she's like, okay, mom, I've got to go and do this and I've got to go and do that. And a completely different state of mind. And I share one story where she had stomach pain and I was driving the kids back from school. And I said, do you want to do the tapping thing? She used to call it. And she said, but your pain was different. Will it work for my pain? And I said, well, we just have to try. And so we came home and we did the tapping and she was like completely free of her stomach pain, which was unbelievable. Like every time I was so shocked and surprised by this method because I didn't know if it was going to work for other kinds of things. And I was just kind of experimenting. And my husband had neck pain and he was very dismissive. Like even though I had healed myself, I don't know, somewhere he just decided that maybe, it was going to heal anyway, or I don't know what he made up in his mind because he's an engineer. And so when I told him that let's try tapping for your neck pain, he's like, no, it's just a pillow. I slept on the wrong side and I have a stiff neck. And I said, well, it doesn't hurt. You can try it. It won't take long. And his neck pain was gone. And I said, isn't that amazing? Now you can have a neck pain-free day instead of tolerating that neck pain. So yes. And then, so my kids, we kind of started doing the tapping thing for whatever issues were going on in our lives. And I could see that whether it was a physical thing, whether it's an emotional thing, it was shifting the energy instantly. Like there were instant shifts, which was just so amazing and empowering. Like you could change the way you were feeling and the physical. You were in charge of your physical health, which was just such an empowering feeling. I could not, because all my life I had expected something outside of me to take care of my health. Like I'm just a normal human being who is powerless, and I don't understand the body, and I need to be a doctor to really understand what's going on with me, and somebody else should tell me what is happening with me. Like tell me what's going on with me. And I know so many clients at this point who feel so frustrated going from doctor to doctor, and the doctor doesn't know, and it says it's all in your head, and they don't have clear answers. Just like for me, they said just be on bed rest. And that itself really aggravates the pain. You're in that state of resistance and worry and anxiety, what's going to happen. The experts don't know. And so when I saw these results with my kids, with myself, that I could manage pain instantly, it was just such an empowering feeling that I never have to be at the mercy of something outside of me and, take charge of my health and my well-being.
Oh, that is such a message for this show is called Zero Limits Living. And so I really want people to absorb what you just said, because it takes the limits, it takes the barriers, it gives you the power. It returns it all to your hands. I mean, literally in this case with what we're talking about. So I know you're an expert on this at this point, and I love your book. I love you. I love what you're doing. I'm thinking that an example might be useful. If somebody's sitting watching and say that they have a headache or their back is hurting or there's an emotional thing, they're grieving, something's going on in their life, can you give us a basic scaled down, simple version so people have at least a taste of what this is like and how easy it is to do?
Okay. So basically, let's take a headache, because everybody has a headache at some point. So let's say if I had a headache right now, there is the thing that makes it so simple and so easy that I could teach it to my 5 and 6-year-old is there is a specific thing that you can say, and you can do it at a very simple level. So here's what it looks like. So for example, if I had a headache right now, I would tap on the karate chop point. These are just names that are given. Simple to remember, right? Because it's actually the triple heater meridian that goes down this. So, to make it easy, it's the karate chop point. And I would just tap on this point with a bunch of fingers, this side or this side, it's anyway. And I would just say, even though I have this headache right now, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. And after that 3 times, it's just the algorithm of EFT. And I would say, even though I have this headache right now, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I have this headache right now, I deeply and completely love, forgive, and accept myself. And then I would go down some 8 points, very easy to access points in the body, eyebrow point, side of the eye, and just tune in. Like, remember, acupuncture, this is emotional acupuncture. So we are stimulating the energy meridians and tuning into the headache, the physical distress that's going on in my body right now. So I would say this headache that I'm feeling right now, all the reasons why I have this headache, just going down and tuning into not just the physical headache, but also just how it's making you feel, because you're tuning into your feelings. And so this headache, and it's really so uncomfortable. I'm feeling so frustrated because I can't do whatever I want to do because of this headache. And you would tap on the different points as you tune into the physical discomfort of the headache. And that would be one tapping round. And then you just take a deep breath in and release and just notice what's going on physically. And usually there is a slight shift immediately. And if there is no shift, and there's a second round that you do, and then you tune into the remaining pain that you're feeling. But if you don't see any shift doing this basic round, it's a big sign that there is emotional and psychological pain layers that need to be addressed.
This is remarkable, and I love that you made it so simple for us. And also want to remind people there's charts and other information. There's beginning information and advanced information in this brand new book, Instant Pain Relief, which is on Amazon. One of the things I wanted to point out is Nick Wertner had made a movie about tapping many years ago, and the original title was Try It on Everything. He remade the movie and retitled it the solution, or the tapping solution. So you can find it as the tapping solution. But I always liked the original title because it was a hint. Whatever is going on in your life, consider trying tapping. Try it on everything, whatever is coming up for you. The other thing I wanted to mention is Brad Yates is a person out there who's an expert on tapping, and he and I have a product called Money Beyond Belief. And so we tailored tapping specifically to beliefs and emotions and thoughts around the issue of receiving money. So again, my reminder is whatever is going on in your life, speaking to all the viewers here, whatever is going on, whether it's a physical pain, it's a psychological thing, it's some nagging issue, it's a reoccurring problem, it's something you feel is unsolvable, it's something that's been with you for the longest time, here is your opportunity to try something to free yourself so you can, again, live a zero limits life. The name of the show, Zero Limits Living. Do you have, Shalini, a story of one of the clients you've seen, since you're now an international expert on this? You've got your best-selling book out there. You've worked with lots of people from the beginning, including your kids, your husband, your friends, and now people all over the world. Is there a favorite story of somebody that had a transformation that is just a kind of a juicy story to tell for whatever reason, and for how it illustrates whatever you want to share?
Yeah, so maybe I can share a story about this guy who had lower back pain. He was an MD of his company, and he had lower back pain, and he had an event coming up, a launch coming up. And so he was really frustrated because his lower back pain was, interfering, and he was really suffering. And so he needed help with fixing the lower back, and he had been going to the doctors and not getting the relief that he wanted. And so he found out about me somehow, and we started working together. And so initially we did some tapping on the physical pain, doing the tapping around. And then I remember asking him, like, what's going on in your life right now? Like, if there's some kind of stress going on in your life, what would that be? And he says, oh, it's the launch, and it's, there's the staff are so useless, and I've trained them and some of them have quit, and there was a lot of stress about the launch, and also frustration with the employees, and some of the key employees that he had hired and trained quit. And so as we started tapping about these frustrations that were going on in his life at that point, the pain started, reducing significantly. So we would tap, even though I'm so frustrated that, the people that I train, I have no support because of this, I deeply and completely love and forgive and accept myself. So we did the tapping for the current stresses. And then, he says, I said, when was the first time, you experienced that you didn't have support? Because he kept saying, I don't have support. He was a Belgian guy in Bangkok, and he didn't have his family. And so I just kind of dug in a little deeper, and he says, oh, that's the story of my life. And I said, could you explain that a little bit? And I said, when was the first time that you ever felt like you had no support? And then he, went back all the way to his childhood when he was 10. And he said, my dad, his dad died when he was 10. And he was the older son he was like 10, and he had 3 younger siblings. And he said, when his dad died, he had like this tantrum and trauma, and he was on his feet, and he was so upset and angry with his father that he was gone. And then back at home with the mom, she had kind of like a nervous breakdown. So she went to her parents to be with them, and his aunt came to stay with them, to take care of them. And she had no clue how to run the house because it's not her house. And so she would ask the eldest son, him, to help her with this, to help her with that, to help get the kids ready, to help, where's this and where's the breakfast and where's this put. And he was like, as he was talking, he was crying, and he was saying that, I had to take on the freaking responsibility of taking care of my siblings and supporting all these people when I was 10, and I needed, when my dad had died. And so there was all this trauma, and even being mad at his mom for running away and dumping them when they really needed her. And so he had all this anger at his mom and all this sadness that his dad had left. And that was the story, that without realizing that I have no support, and whenever I need support, everybody abandons me. And so as we started releasing those deeper, painful emotions, and of course, this was, not one session because he was part of my program, but as we released and cleared those deeper feelings of I don't have support, and installing, different beliefs that, because your beliefs create your reality. And he was getting it, that he had a pattern of not feeling supported or being abandoned when you really need support. And lower back pain is all, your back, your spine is there for supporting you technically. And when you have pain, any pain in your back, it's really interesting, but you have to ask yourself, where am I not feeling supported? And all this information I gathered, not from the tapping, but from the chakra diagnosis and chakra, balancing books that I'd read, because lower back is the root chakra, and the root chakra is all about family. It's about financial root issues in your life, which is family, money, your what do you call it? The religious beliefs that you have. That is the root chakra, and that's the lower back. And he had lower back issues, and this was when he came to me, it was aggravated. He already had lower back pain from a while ago. And so as we cleared all this emotional layers and layers and layers of anger and resentment and all these heavy feelings, he was completely free from pain and aware that it's a story he's been telling himself
over and over. Yeah. Oh, Shalini, this is amazing. We're running out of time. There's a few things, and I wish I had another hour with you. First of all, I had mentioned Nick Ortner in his movie. He endorses your book.
Right.
I had mentioned Brad Yates and he and I doing a program together. He endorses your book. I had mentioned about me knowing about Roger Callahan and thought-filled therapy. I endorse your book. All of the experts are coming in saying this is the book to get for instant pain relief and to understand tapping at the beginning, the medium, and the advanced levels. I also want to publicly acknowledge that I've been to Thailand twice, both for speaking engagements, and on one of them, I had Shalini get on stage and teach the entire crowd the basics of instant pain relief. So this woman is the expert who has just written the Bible on all of this. And Shalini, I apologize, we're going to be running out of time. So let me ask you a couple questions. One is, where do you want people to go? They can go to Amazon for your book, but do you have a website to reach you or for more information? Someplace we want to corral people.
Yeah, there's a website. It's called EFTThailand.com or magicalpainfreeliving.com.
EFTThailand.com and magicalpainfreeliving.com. Correct? And do you have a website for the book? I thought there was one, Instant Pain Relief Book. Is that correct?
Yes, it's instantpainreliefbook.com. So instantreliefbook.com. So there has to be the book as well, not just instantpainrelief.com.
Gotcha. Instantpainreliefbook.com. And then let's get a takeaway here. What do you want people to remember from our conversation? If there is one thing, it could be a thought, it can be a to-do, it can be a quote, it can be an insight. What do you want people to take away from our wonderful interview together?
I love this quote by Iyanla Vanzant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She has the definition for pain, PAIN, and it's pay attention inward now.
Oh, pay attention inward now. I love it. Shalini, I can't thank you enough. Thanks for making time. Thanks for getting up early. Thanks for putting up with the time changes. And congratulations on your new book, which is the #1 bestseller, and it's on Amazon. Everybody, go get it so you can have instant pain relief. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. Yes, Shalini, you want to say something?
No, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much for all your support through, these years. And thank you so much. Deeply.
I am proud right there with you. So thank you. Everybody, I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. This is Zero Limits Living. Every week I bring you information and inspiration to help you live a life that you only dreamed of before. You deserve the best, and you deserve it now. You can watch the show on the Lux TV app, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, on Apple TV. I put up a website, ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com, ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com, where you can watch it every Friday. The Lux TV app, you download that and you can watch the shows anywhere, anytime. I want to thank Candace Barr, Lux Media, Nick, who's running the camera now. Chris is off. I think he is grieving a funeral that he was at. I love you all. And until next time, expect miracles.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radicals, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.